6 a.m. on the dot, and we begin this hour with some crashes on major freeways overnight. At least one person is in the hospital after a multi-vehicle crash on Interstate 5 in Mission Bay. A motorcycle was also involved in that crash. You're looking at some of the video from earlier this morning. It happened around 3:40 on the northbound side of the freeway near Claremont Drive. We still don't know what caused that crash, but we did just learn that a suspected DUI driver was detained unrelated to that crash. When CHP reopened some lanes for traffic, they noticed a van didn't move, so they evaluated him for DUI.
Also new this morning, 2 people are in the hospital after this crash. This was on another freeway, but right at that same time, also at 3:40 this morning on this southbound 805 at Kearney Villa Road in Serra Mesa, keeping our local crews very busy. 3 cars were involved in that one. It's unclear what caused that crash. All of the lanes now on the 805 there have reopened. Thank you for joining us here. It is now 6:01. I'm Netta Iranpour.
And I'm Evan Nurani in for Eric Connor. We do want to start off with a check of the forecast as well on what is about to be a pretty wet New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Right now, things are dry out there. You can see what temperatures look like, mainly in the 50s as we start off the morning. 53 degrees right now in Oceanside, 54 in San Diego. Still a few spots of drizzle that we've seen coming down to start off the day, so we'll be tracking when our next best chance of widespread rain is on the way and how it could be affecting your weekend plans. Much more coming up in your full weather forecast.
And now we have an update this morning on the mess at Southwest. They're hoping for a normal day of operations after we've seen day after day of chaos at the airports. The airline says passengers can expect minimal disruptions today. CBS 8's Chris Groh working for you now, keeping an eye on what's happening at San Diego International Airport. Chris, how's it looking now?
Yeah, the good news is things are moving pretty smoothly, Netta. In fact, both the lines here, which are pretty much non-existent after that first wave, and then when you take a look at the board, you're not seeing the word canceled on any of those departures, which of course is what we're keeping an extra close eye on for those folks who are getting here to the airport and wondering if they will be one of like thousands of flights that got canceled in previous days. But again, Southwest now coming out and saying yesterday just before noon that they were ready to return to normal operations after flying at a third of their operations because of what they claim to be, again, staffing issues due to those severe winter storms that we saw take place. Now, for a lot of folks, they have been impacted. They have moved on from their travel plans, and they're wondering how it is that they can be made whole. Well, they are saying that they will refund all canceled flights, the airline did, and they urged customers to, quote, submit refund and reimbursement requests for meals, hotels, and also alternate transportation. So if you were someone who maybe rented a car to drive to your holiday destination and back because your flight to and from had been canceled, that could conceivably be something that Southwest could reimburse you for. We're going to, of course, keep an eye on what else the airline will be doing. Now, the other part of this, though, people are still waiting for their bags. Some people have waited a long time to see whether or not they could get their bags. We're going to keep an eye on that as well, too. But even yesterday, we saw that operations were a bit smoother than they were in previous days. Take a listen to what this gentleman had to tell us.
You read the stuff online, and they were saying even if you get where you're supposed to go, the baggage could be weeks or months behind schedule. And I got Christmas presents I want to play with in here and stuff like that, so I was a little worried about that, but we didn't have any problems.
Yeah, no problems. We started to see that yesterday when a couple of passengers were coming in saying, yeah, no, this has been my flight all along. Nothing got canceled. Wanted to see, obviously, how things would translate to today, and so far, so good. But, of course, we're going to continue to monitor things. Any changes that come up, we'll be sure to let you know here, as well as on CBS8.com. Netta?
All right, that is a big relief there to see that. Chris, thank you. This morning now, take a look. People from coast to coast dealing with yet more severe winter weather. Look at all this snow. A storm system dumped nearly a foot of snow. That was in parts of Colorado. The same storm that came through here moved on out into the center of the country. More rain and snow in the forecast, in fact, from California onto the Rocky Mountains, while a separate system will bring heavy rain to much of the East Coast. In Buffalo now, 39 people have died after that storm over the Christmas weekend, burying them in several feet.
And new this morning, a pipeline that delivers gasoline to San Diego won't be fixed until at least Monday. Repairs were expected to wrap up tomorrow, but the operator, Kinder Morgan, says that there are, quote, complexities associated with excavation. The company has said that they are using alternate resources to keep gas stocked here in San Diego. An investigation is underway this morning after another local park was vandalized, this time in Kearny Mesa. Tire marks were left behind by someone who drove their car onto the field. They tore up the ground that's used almost daily by sports teams.
We have to get out of there. It really impacts us. We can't go down that field at all. So we have to just go in this way. And when it rains, it makes it even worse because now there's puddles everywhere that we cannot get out of because it's either practice in the puddles or practice in the ditches.
So this at a park in Kearny Mesa. You might remember just last weekend, the turf at Jerebeck Park in Scripps Ranch was also damaged in a similar way. A $1,000 reward is now being offered for information that leads to an arrest.
And now 2022 is coming to a close. Today's the last Friday of the year. We are counting down to 2023. So take a look at this countdown clock right here. This is for the new year. And you'll notice if you have plans to send out 2022 with a bang, make sure you have a plan to get home safely. There are a lot of options. And the California Highway Patrol will begin its maximum enforcement period tonight. That will last through Monday. So they're going to be out in full force, making sure people are not drinking and driving. Last year, CHP made more than 500 arrests all across the state over the New Year's holiday. 29 people were killed in car crashes then. You can get a safe ride home for free, so there's no excuse really. MTS buses and trolleys, as well as the Coaster, the Sprinter, Breeze, and Flex will be free starting tomorrow. The agencies are also offering extended late night service on New Year's Eve. If you want to party past midnight, trains and trolleys will run as late as 2 a.m. Again, it will be free for you to ride on. And today, the San Diego International Auto Show returns to the Downtown Convention Center, and this runs through Monday. All these shiny cars on display. This year, you'll find between 250 to 300 cars from just about every car maker. Also learn about a lot of electric vehicles, their new designs, and check out the classics too. Doors will open at 10 o'clock this morning. We'll have a live preview for you coming up at 6:30. And it's a busy weekend, Evan, as we know, so
yes.
A lot of people may want to celebrate. As you've said, rooftop bars are popular in town. Maybe not Saturday night.
I just think you got to plan for the possibility of rain coming through. I'm not saying to avoid it completely. I'm just saying if the rain starts pouring, number one, don't say we didn't warn you in advance. And number two, have a place to go. We all know that many of those rooftop bars are still going to be packed nonetheless, but just maybe have an inside level to head to if that rain does start coming down. Forecast for the day, though, shows cloudy skies, especially along the coast and inland. Temperatures in the low 60s for this afternoon, 62 along the coast, 61 inland. You see how satellite radar has shown we are mainly dry out there. There are a few very light dots on there of green, but this is really nothing notable. What is going to be notable is this next atmospheric river headed towards us. This is the atmospheric moisture that we measure just across the Pacific headed onshore. And then all this green shows areas of about an inch or so, upwards of an inch for those areas in blue on the screen. So along the coastline. This keeps traveling south as we go through the rest of your weekend, and then will hit us late Saturday into early Sunday. So just in time to be bringing in the new year. Quickly behind that, Monday into Tuesday, we've got another atmospheric river that's developing just a little bit farther off of the coast, so it'll take a little bit longer to get to us, but we're going to stay unsettled throughout it. So as this one makes its way down south again, it will hit us closer to Tuesday. This is Monday, but in between we'll still have cloudy skies at times. That chance of showers only drops down to 24% for Monday and then climbs back up to 64% for Tuesday. Early next week and early into 2023, we're still going to have a pretty decent opportunity of wet weather in the mix, but for your New Year's Eve and New Year's Day in particular, that is going to be where we climb to our highest probability of precipitation. We've checked in on national temperatures all week long. We're a little bit warmer this morning. Still cold, though, for Bismarck, North Dakota at 13 degrees. Vegas at 44. San Diego at 57. Traffic this morning has been light, but we will take you to a couple crashes that have just popped up. Want to start off in North County with two crashes that we have already this morning. Right-hand shoulder blocked with a crash on the 15 southbound. This is as the 15 meets the 76. In Vista, we've got a crash at Emerald Drive at Sunset Drive, that intersection there. And then farther farther south, number 2 lane blocked with a stalled vehicle on the 5 northbound. This is at Claremont Drive. We were talking about this earlier. Looks like the number 2 lane there is still blocked on the 5 northbound. Netta?